Hi everybody, it's Marcy from Chunky Knitted Creations. Missing Chunk again because he kind of fell apart, so I think we're going to say goodbye to him. Plus it was a little ridiculous. I just wanted to come on camera this time for a few minutes because I've been doing my last probably 10 tutorials without showing my face, and I just want to let you guys know that I still exist and it's still really me, and I am the person behind the camera. And today I have such an exciting tutorial for you that I just can't wait to get started on. Actually, this pattern came from a lady in my group named Jane Gordon, who is a very, very talented knitter. She doesn't like to do tutorials. Most people don't, as you know. It takes a lot of guts and a lot of work, and it's just time consuming too. So she gave me her pattern, and when she posted this in my Chunky Yarn Blanketeers group, the whole group just went nuts. They just wanted that pattern so bad, and I said, you know what, Jane, if you want me to, I will do a tutorial on this one. And she was gracious and emailed me her pattern, and I tweaked it just a little bit to make it a little more simple for so that maybe some of our beginners could do it, and so intermediate people could do it also. But I didn't change the look of it. So without further ado, I give you the snowman pillow. Isn't he adorable? Kind of hard to fit in my camera. So the only thing I changed basically was the size, and I added a pom-pom, and she had already did flower on hers. I made mine red and green so he would look Christmassy. I actually forgot to add the face until afterwards, so my nose looks kind of funky, but I'm going to teach you how to do it before you close up and stuff the entire pillow and all that. So it comes out to be about 16 inches wide and a little bigger than 16 inches tall. The back is just plain. We only do the brim of the hat about halfway around is how she designed it, so that you can still lean it up against the back of your chair or couch and you won't have this sticking out in the back. But isn't this just the most adorable thing you've ever seen? Yes, I love it. So it took me a little bit, but I figured out a pattern and made it a little simpler and wrote it all down. So what you're going to need, basically, I am going to switch the camera view, don't worry, is about, what was it? I think I used about 2 whole skeins of black, probably Marcy and Maya brand, chunky chenille yarn from Amazon, which is my brand. This is my black, which is the deepest, darkest jet black I've ever seen, and it's actually soft. A lot of black yarn you see in the stores feels really rough because it's loaded down with dyes. And then about 1.5 skeins of white. This is only a half a skein. I have a bunch unwound behind me because my yarn is compressed, of course, because I have to do that for Amazon. And then you will need just a couple, maybe 4 or 5 inches, maybe a little more for the nose of a bright orange if you want to do a carrot nose, or if you want to make him look like the famous snowman from the cartoons that come out around Christmas. That I probably shouldn't say his name because of copyright laws. You could go look up a picture of him and do a red button nose or something like that. And if you want, for your flower, you can use any color you want. I did a red and green one, and you can do a bow if you don't want to do the flower. I don't know how the flower pattern is, just something I looked up on YouTube myself, so I'm not really going to teach you that because I'm not that great at it. I've only done it a couple times, but just go to YouTube and type in chunky knit flower tutorial, and there's about 4 or 5 different ones that you can try and just figure out which one works best for you. And then of course you'll need your scissors and your lighter, and then any type of thin yarn or string for the eyebrows and for the mouth, unless you want them thicker. Again, the eyes are made out of chunky yarn, of my black chunky yarn. So just 2, we did 2 holes there with it. But again, design your face however you want. Use whatever you have around the house. Use yarn, use string, use bows, use bells if you want to. Okay, I'm happy to present you with the tutorial that's coming up next. I'm just going to switch the camera around and get it set up so you can actually see my hands, and I will have it shooting over my shoulder so that it will look like you're sitting right next to me. So see you in a minute. Okay, let's make us a snowman pillow. We are going to start this out just like you would a square pillow, any regular square pillow if you've ever done one. There's lots of tutorials on YouTube on how to do square pillows. If you want to watch a couple of those just to get an idea of how to do the cast on if you don't love the way that I do it or just don't understand it, but I think you'll be just fine because I've done this before and no one has ever complained and said that they couldn't understand my way of casting on for a pillow. So we are going to need 10 loops to pull up our pattern through, actually, I guess I would say. You have to excuse me, I'm a bit tired tonight. So we need to actually cast on 11 because the 11th one will be an end loop, and then we're going to fold it in over top of this one and use it. You'll see as we get going. You don't need a tail at all. We're not going to be cinching anything, so you can keep this part short because we're just going to tuck it inside the pillow. Cast on 11 smaller loops, not the size that you would use for a blanket. About 2 fingers, okay, maybe even a little less than that. And everything that you do with this pillow, you are going to want to knit very tightly because you're going to be stuffing it and you don't want polyfill coming out the side. So I pull it through and make sure I can fit just barely 2 fingers through the loops. The rest of the pillow, you will do 1 finger tip loops so that it'll be extremely tight. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to need some type of a clip also. There's knitting clips like pens that you can use. I use hair clips for everything just to hold the end stitch in place for a couple of rows. This is my Marcy and Maya brand White Snow, and hopefully my new ring light is doing it justice, but it is the brightest white yarn I've ever seen, and it is the softest. It feels like true chenille. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to need one more. That one looks a little big. 11. So we're going to pull up loops through the top of the chain and the bottom of the chain in order to make a double-sided pillow. So this one here, we don't want just an end stitch here. This would make a side seam, and we don't want that. So we're going to take this and twist and fold it up. Okay, twisting it will help keep it from popping out. I don't think it matters whether you twist it that way or this way. I personally just like to go like this and twist it up and over. So you're kind of covering this first stitch on that side. And this is where your clip will come in handy. And I like to clip it on the side because you're going to need to pull a loop through here. Okay. So now we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you're going to bring your working yarn around and go to the next stitch. Pull one through the top. Make sure again about 1 finger can fit through the loop. And then just go down the rest of your chain. Make sure you're going through the top of the stitch here, not through the middle. There's no bump on this side, so you won't get confused with that. You're going through the tops of the stitch. Not like a blanket, or not the way I do my blankets. Some people do like to pull their loops through the top for a blanket because they don't want the braided border. They want a nice flat blanket. I started this tutorial a few days ago. That's why I have a different shirt than I did in the intro to the video. And then virus struck our house and we've been sick, and I'm trying to fight it off, but I've been coughing and all that quite a bit. So if you hear me just kind of lean back and that's all it is. But I wanted to get this done so badly because it was posted in our group. This actually, I don't know if I mentioned this in the intro because, again, it's been a few days and things have been rough. Okay, let's make sure we got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to flip this around. Okay, again, this is my right hand, just like you should be. It should look like you're sitting next to me. Hopefully I did it right this time. I've been through so many different setups trying to get that part right, but it just never comes out right on my phone sometimes. All right, so over here, it can get a bit confusing because you have your first slip knot that you made, your cast on one, and there's all like a little piece here that you could pull a stitch through if you needed to, but we're not going to be using that. So what I do is I start from this end and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I know that that's where I want to actually pull my stitch through. And this piece here is going to get tucked inside the pillow, so you can kind of just put it underneath if you want. You want to go over top of it when you knit. You don't want it sticking out here because then it'll be sticking on the outside of your pillow and you won't like that. So again, one finger. It feels a little tight. I'm gonna make sure I did this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yep. I just kept pulling on that first slip knot, and I think I just made it a little tight on the end there. Pull them up and over and flatten them out. You can actually take that tail piece that you're not going to use out here now, just so that you can get this nice and flat. And then you'll see as we go, we're going to stick it inside the pillow. This yarn is very soft and thick and fluffy. Just up and out. Grab your top of your stitch, bring your working yarn behind it, pull it up and out. Whenever you're stitching anything, I always hold the previous loop and grab a hold of the new strand that I'm going to pull it through, and I take my finger from behind and push it through and hold on to this one so it doesn't change, okay, so it doesn't pull it out. And I pull it up and out and make sure they're the same size. So hold them close together so that you don't have a big like gap of yarn right here. Okay. So, I mean, there's going to be, your stitches can open, of course, but there's not a piece of yarn this long sticking through there, because then it will be too loose. All right, pull one through here. We are going to do 14 rows of white, and then about 9 or 10 rows of the black. You can make the black part as tall as you want it if you want a super tall hat. All right, we're going to flip this around again. And then, okay, so this is that first stitch that I showed you where I folded it up and over. We're going to knit through that. I'm actually going to move this down a little bit. That stitch can be a little funky sometimes, and it will kind of fold back on you. So that's just why I keep it clipped until I knit through it a few times. So just like on this end, you're going to bring your working yarn around and underneath. And eventually we're going to fold this in half like this and start knitting across too. So we want this really close together here. Pull through. And then usually I like to knit 3 rows before I fold this piece in half here. Some people just do 2, which is a good idea also, because then your sides will end up coming out a little tighter down here. But as long as I knit small, I can usually go 3. So we'll see if I can get it to stay. When you try to fold it in half when it's this tiny, because we're going to actually fold it this way, it's hard. It just doesn't want to stay. Keeps flopping back out. Alright, so this is the side with the tail. I'm going to flip it around. Okay, this is my working yarn. That's the tail. I want my working yarn to go over that tail so that I can tuck it inside. Okay, and then there's like a little bump there from your cast on chain, or your first cast on stitch. So that's gonna get tucked into. Knit through that one. You can actually even kind of fold it like this, because that's what we're gonna end up doing. So now that you're on your second one, you can fold this and knit through it. I'll show you what I mean again. Alright, so here's working yarn, here is the tail, and there's a little lump there because again that was our first stitch that we made. So there's the little loop piece that goes over the top of your slip knot. So we want to get around that. If you want to make it easier to understand, you can fold this in half right now. Tuck in that little tail, okay? Fold this in half and then pull your stitch through it from behind. That way our side is covered. Okay, because this is gonna be the side seam of the pillow. So it won't usually stay folded in half at this point. I can try, but the other end will fall apart on me, but I'm gonna try and do it that way. So let's fold it in half. Okay, just try to hold it down and make sure that you're tucking in that tail. It's gonna go inside the pillow. You're gonna fold in half. Okay, it just keeps wanting to pop up on me. So now you're gonna hold it down and keep going down the row and knitting through. You can see how my end is kind of making a mess over here, but we'll fix that in a minute. As you get like to 3 or 4 rows, it's just gonna look like a little pocket. There's not gonna have a problem. Just not enough there right now. I'll do about 5 rows with you here, just so you can see what it's going to look like. And then I'll come finish up my white, and then I'll come back and we'll start on the black. A couple things that again, like I said in the intro, I kind of made mistakes on. The first time I did this was I knitted all the black and white yarn and did the hat and the brim and all that and stuffed it and closed it up, and then realized I had to do the face. And it's much easier to do the face beforehand so that you can reach down inside it and pull your yarn through. But I was able to do it after it was stuffed. It just wasn't fun. Okay, so that's folded. We're gonna flip over again, fold this back in half, and start knitting this side. There's my working yarn. Back here is the row that I just did. Fold that over like a sub sandwich and knit that through. I'll leave my clip there just for 1 or 2 rows just to make sure. So now that I've got a few rows there, I can take it out and it'll stay. It's not going anywhere now. It's been knitted through. Might be kind of hard to see with glowing white yarn. Hoping I picked the right shade on my ring light. I tested it out with the orange yarn, and then I went back and looked at it and it looked yellow. This can't win. One of these days I'll be doing so well in my business that I'll just hire professional photographers and filmers and art videographers, and that you guys will get much better tutorials from me that way. So just keep forcing that to fold in half. Hold your 2 stitches. I push one through, pull one out, push one, pull one out, push one, pull one out, flip it, fold it back in half. Make sure that that little tail stays inside there. Okay. We're doing the knit stitch on the outside. If you want to purl stitch this, you can. You would just flip it the other way. Okay. Or you can knit stitch almost the whole thing and then flip the entire pillow inside out. Alright, so when you flip it over, your working yarn will be on the back side. Okay. So you want to make sure, the most important thing here with these pillows is that these two pieces are close together when you pull your stitch, your working yarn through that other side, the stitch on the other side, all right? Because you don't want a hole on the side of your pillow and have your stuffing fall out. So you make sure you hold these together and pull real tight when you do your end stitches. This is my raggedy old craft and work shirt. Got bleach all over and everything. It's about the only shirt that I have that doesn't get loaded down with cat hair. For some reason it doesn't stick to this sweatshirt very bad. Okay. You see that? That's a battle scar. That's carpal tunnel surgeries I had here and tendon release surgery from all the years of knitting. You get so addicted to this, you never want to stop. And the first year, I think I probably made 100 blankets and 5,000 other different things that I knitted. Scarves, hats, slippers, plushies, just everything. Couldn't get enough of it. And here I am still almost 5 years later, and I knit every day. And every night there's some project in my bed that I'm knitting. There we go. I usually have 2 or 3 going on at once. Alright, we are on row 3 on that side. I'm going to flip this over. Okay. Fold it in half again. Bring that down. Make sure you pull that through tight. No seam. Just keep going. And again, this is my white snow yarn from my Amazon store, Marcy and Maya. It's all one word, MARCYNMYA, which is just a play on mine and my daughter's name, because this is our business that we run together. We are a small US-based mother-daughter owned business, and we sell our yarn exclusively on Amazon. She helps me with the digital art, and she likes to knit too. Maybe someday I'll get her to do tutorials. Okay, so we are 1, 2, 3, 4 rows on this side. If you ever want to count your rows, you just stick your finger in the holes. Take the first loop here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's 4 rows, and we need to get to 14. So I'll do one more row on this side with you. So again, you flip it over, your yarn's going to be in the back. You're going to pull it through the front, hold them nice and close together, pull that through as tight as you can, grab that side of that stitch and pull up on it, just make sure there's no gap there. And that's what you're going to do, just keep knitting from left to right, right to left, flip it until it gets to the height you want, which in this pattern I'm doing 14. And if you want to do yours bigger, Jane's original pattern was 16 she cast on, and I did my first snowman pillow, a different one than I showed you, with that pattern, and I was able to fit a very big pillow form in it, so I didn't have to stuff it. It was a 16 by 16 down-filled pillow form that I got from Amazon. I had bought a 4-pack of them, and they are so comfortable. But the one thing that I didn't like using a pillow form with this pattern was that you'll see the hat on him. I'll show you really quick. So it's kind of hard because it's far away. So this hat brim here, when I used a pillow form, it pulled this up and his hat didn't look even. It started coming up like that. And that's just because it was so square. So you might have to adjust your pattern and knit lower on the sides or something if you're going to do that. Okay, I'm going to finish knitting up to row 14 and then I'll come back and we will change to the black. Okay, I'm back. I have knitted 14 rows up on both sides. And I was way off on how much yarn you will need. I only needed one full skein and then enough. I had to get into my second skein just for one half of a row, just this side. So I was just that short. And that is something I want to explain really quick. When you buy my yarn, it is sold by the weight, 250 grams. And a lot of yarn on Amazon is sold like that. And there is what they call an industry standard to where there could be a variance of up to 10 grams. Usually it's not. I find some that weigh more than 250 more than often. And sometimes the lowest I think I've ever seen was one that was like 242. And what that means is that the skein sizes can vary. And it could be I just recently changed my listing to add all that in there so people understand that it's not like, you know, some of the craft stores where theirs are measured perfectly. And that's just because they have to because they're retail. So you may get black yarn weighs a lot more than white yarn, and that is because of the dye. There's so much dye that goes into this. They steam it and soak it and steam it and soak it and steam it and soak it. So 250 grams of this is probably going to be closer to like 28 yards. And then 250 grams of this could be, you know, 31 yards. And then if there's a variance in the weight, again, my first skein that I used when I made the other pillow, yeah, I might have actually used a partially open skein, but I know I went through closer to maybe like 1.5 skeins. Actually, I looked back at my notes of white, and I could have knitted tighter or looser or something too. So, you know, that also makes a big difference. That's why it's so hard to say you will only need one skein of yarn to do this, because you might not. It depends on your knitting style. It depends on the variances in the yarn and all that. So again, on this one here, I only needed one skein plus enough to make one row on one side. So basically a half of a row. And with the black, it will only need maybe, I would say 3/4 of a skein, but we'll see. Anyways, I won't keep any longer on that, but it's time to switch colors. I did my 14 rows of white, and we're going to switch to black for his hat. So I'm going to cut behind my last stitch. This is not like a blanket again. You're not going to switch colors one before the end or any of that because it's a pillow. So we're going to cut just about enough so that when I burn it together, it's going to cover the side seam right here. I don't want black showing right there. So I'll cut about, I'm going to say about 3/4 of an inch. Should do it. You want to go, you know, err on the larger side. All right, put that over there. Open the black. The blackest black I've ever seen too, just so you know. I almost called it onyx. And let's find my end piece. Just so you know, both of these skeins, I did not fluff them. I opened them from my compressed package, my space-saving, beautiful package that I love, because I can store a lot more yarn at my house now than I could before. Because sometimes you get your packages of yarn from me and they will be like an inch thick. And then about this big, probably, I think they're about 11 to 12 inches. So you can stack tons of those in your little cubby holes or whatever for your organizing. Whereas normally you'd fit 4 skeins. Alrighty. So yeah, it's definitely the blackest black. So I'm going to pull this out a little bit just so I have more to hold on to. The black yarn will flare up faster than the white because of all the dye in it. Okay, I'd already trimmed that one. I'm going to trim a little bit off of this just so I can find that plastic core that we're looking for in the middle there, because that's what we want to burn and melt them together. I was going to show you on the white, but I thought, no need to do it twice. And I do demonstrate this in every video. So I'm going to light up the white first. I do both ends now. Used to only do one end, but I figured, let's be safer. Let's make sure. So you see that white took a minute? Now the black will flare up usually pretty fast. I'll blow out the white because it's getting too much. Sometimes I blow them out, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just push them together, it just depends. They were starting to scare me. That was getting to be a big flame, so I blew them out like a candle. All right, I hold them together for a couple, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds at the most. So I feel that it's starting to cool down a little bit and it won't burn me. There's also fingertip protectors that you can get. Push it together nice and good. Okay, so now it's still warm. You want to make sure it's still warm when you do this. Don't let it cool all the way down or you won't be able to roll this and flatten it. So I'm going to squeeze and squeeze and push it together this way. I like to turn it this way and push it together. And then I like to also take it and roll it between the palm of my hands, the part where I joined the two colors. So that sometimes if I do it just right, you can't even hardly feel the knot. That wasn't my best one, but it's going to be on the side of the pillow. It'll be less noticeable for somebody to feel it. Pull that back through so that it's even. And I want a little bit of white sticking out there. I'm going to flip it over. Start knitting my black. Okay. Looks like Cruella de Vil there. Pull the black through here. Check the side. Make sure there's no black showing. See, if I pull out, you'll see black there. Now I'm going to tighten it back up. I don't want any white poking out there, but I don't want black poking out there. So there we go. Make these again 1 finger widths. And then we're going to knit. I'm going to do 9 rows like I did on the other one. Again, I'm just suggesting 8 to 10 rows for the hat, depending on how tall you want it. But we are going to start decreasing when we get to about row 7. Yeah, I think it was row 7 is when I started decreasing my stitches. And decreasing is what you do so that you can get an angle on something. Oh, my camera went out of focus there. Probably from the flame. So, decreasing. Why is my camera focusing in and out? I'm sorry about that. I think it's the contrast. Oh, I forgot to turn my light back on. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go and get my ring light back on. Now we will have focus. Sorry about that. There we go. That's the good. Now it will focus better. I'm so sorry. Again, it's been a rough week. We've all been sick and no sleep. But this was just on my mind to get this done because I've been promising everybody and everybody was so excited about it. We've got people messaging me every day, did you get the tutorial done? Did you get the tutorial done? And that's just never happened before. I mean, close to it on a couple of other things that we've done, but this one here, Jane probably got 500 comments within the first day asking her for a pattern, and she typed it out for a few people, but a lot of people just need a tutorial. All right, flip it over. Now this side, you know, there's going to be black. There's just nothing I can do there, but if you pull it tight enough, they'll come together. Okay, 1 finger there. Pull this one through, make sure it's the same height. That's how you know your stitches will be the same size. I do the 1 finger width check on the first one, and then the others I just make sure they're the same height. And as you can see, this came out perfect almost by doing that. They'll curl in a little bit on your first row, don't worry about that. Once you knit through a few, it will lay down. Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. Really late here on the East Coast. got 2 more tutorials in mind that I'm going to try to do soon. I invented a slipper tutorial about 4 or 5 years ago, about 4 years ago, and or a slipper pattern, and then I didn't do a tutorial until I started my own YouTube channel and my own business, and then I made a video tutorial on it. And then other people in my group about a year later started posting slipper boots that they made, and they're really cute. And I of course had to go and figure out that, which didn't take but a minute. You just had to pull up stitches around the top of the slippers, and I've seen some really cute designs. And then now a bunch of people are asking me to do a tutorial for that because they want to make one too. And so I'm not sure if I'm gonna add it on to the slipper tutorial that I already have or create my own. I'm not sure, but I got a new design so that it looks a little different than what everybody else has been doing. It's gonna be really cute. Hint, hint, it'll be a Christmassy one. And then you can make it any color that you want also. It'll be the same pattern no matter what. I find that if you keep your stitches small and tight like that, you don't get as much white showing through on your first line. I'm going to try to do this fast because I kind of really need to stay on camera for this. I just don't want my tutorials all to be 2 hours long. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going around in circles like that. I am actually going to pause it so the tutorial won't be too long. And you're going to knit to 7 rows and then stop, and I'll show you what to do next. So 7 rows first. Okay, I'm back. So I actually knitted 6 rows. I'm sorry about that, because on row 7 is where we're going to decrease. So I'm going to be starting row 7, and I want to decrease from 10 stitches down to 6 so that we can have it start to curve in like a hat. Now, if this decreasing part is too confusing for you, if you're a beginner and you just don't even want to do this, I did do it like a test run on one where I didn't do any decreasing. I just knitted 9 or 10 rows of black, and then I closed it up on the top just like a regular hat. And you'll see how I close up this one. You'll do it the same way. You'll just have more stitches and it'll just be bunched up a little more on top, but it will still look good. This will look better, but it's if you don't care really about, you know, the angling and all that, it looked good to me both ways. But we're gonna do the right way. So I want to decrease from 10 to 6, so I need to take out 4 stitches. So I'm gonna take the end stitches and cross them over each other and knit through them. So right there, if I take these 2 and these 2, I know it's black and it's hard to see. Let me see if I can put some white yarn in here to show you. Okay, so these are my 4 end stitches. Okay, so you're going to cross one over the other and then knit through it, okay? And that reduces by 1 stitch whenever you do that. So I knitted through 2 stitches at once instead of just 1 like we normally do. All right, so now that kind of comes together. It's angling together. Again, really hard to see with black. And we've lost 1 stitch. We're down to 9 now. And I'm going to do the same thing with these 2. I'm going to take the outside one, cross it over the inside one because I want them to angle in this way. And I'm going to hold them together and bring my working yarn through the back of them and pull through. Okay, so now we've lost 2 stitches. I'm going to leave these middle ones alone for now. And just knit through them normally to, and then make sure, okay, I've knitted through these 2. Okay, so I combined these 2, knitted through these 2. Now I've got 4 left. I'm gonna cross them over and combine the last 4 stitches here. I'm going to take the outside one and bring it over on top of the in one because I want this to angle in this way and this side to angle in that way like a hat would. And then bring that through. I've got my last 2 stitches on the end, bring the outside one over top of the inside one so that it will start angling this way. You could give this snowman any color hat you want also. You don't have to just do black and white. She did hers in black and white and I just loved it. Okay, so now I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches, okay, on this side. So I'm going to flip it over and do the same exact thing. Over here I should have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry, I lost one somewhere. I hope I didn't pop one out. There it is. When I pulled that one over, it kind of pulled my side stitch in. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, thought I lost a stitch there for a minute. Always double check everything. So again, we're going to take the outside one, cross it over. You can do this any method you want. I think Jane said she just kept reducing as she went up until she got down to 5 stitches total. And again, sorry, outside over the inside, curve it that way. If you bring this one over this one, it's going to start pulling this way. We want to pull this way. Just like the honeycomb stitch. All right. And then we're going to make sure we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just going to knit through the middle 2. But we will combine them on the next row. That's what I did. 2. All right. So again, I'm down to 4 stitches. I've knitted through this one. I'm down to 4. I'm going to take these 2, cross it over, going the other way. The outside one over top of the inside one. Same here, last one. Outside stitch over the inside. It would be nice if I remembered that when I did this row to make these stitches a tiny bit bigger because it's pretty hard to get it through there. That's where the fake nails come in handy. I actually like knitting with them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And that was row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We did that on row 7. We decreased to 6 stitches. Now we're going to flip it over. We're going to knit through the first 2 stitches, which is the ones that we did the decreasing on. We have 6 stitches, so we're going to knit through stitch 1, knit through stitch 2. Now stitch 3 and 4 we never combined on the last one, so you can go either way with these because it's just kind of in the middle of the hat. So cross the middle ones over each other and combine to reduce it down to 5. Okay, and then knit through what was 5 and 6. Now we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. Okay, flip it over and do the same thing. Knit through the first 2. And then the 2 middle ones, I'll cross them over the other way. I think I did that way on the other one. It doesn't really matter. Combine these 2 to decrease it 1 more. If you ever get yarn that looks like that, where you can see the string and you think you only got a half a piece, it's really just laid down and you just got to rub it. That happens with compressed yarn. Had I run this through the whisk, that would already be standing up. Turn it sideways and just rub it with your fingers. Get the yarn to stand back up. I might have gotten a little less on it, but look, now it's gone. Can't see the string anymore. Okay. A lot of people flip out when they see that and they think, ah, my yarn is bare. Okay, knit through the end 2. We combined to the middle one, so we'll be 1 down to 5 again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 stitches on each side. And then the rest of them, we're just going to knit through till we get to 9, okay? Now, it's up to you if you want to stop here and do your face, or if you want to knit these up. It just, wherever you're more comfortable. I'm going to go ahead and finish my black just so I know that I don't have to do anything but close it up. And I'm just going to do one more row. So, but if you want to do it taller, you can knit through a few rows. So I'm staying with 5 on each side. Again, if you want to keep reducing and make it, you know, smaller, 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 but when I close it up, I'm going to cinch it together at the top anyways. Okay. So after I did my 2 decrease rows, I just knit through it one more time. I like these flexible patterns just so, you know, you don't have to worry if you make a mistake and you forgot to do a decrease stitch here. You can do it somewhere else. You know, just make sure you get the right amount of stitches. All right, so now we have 9 rows of black on the top. I could do one more, but it's just not going to be necessary. All right, and then I'm going to cut this and just leave enough yarn to close this up with. So I make sure I can go around twice just to be safe, okay? But I can't close it up yet, and I can't stuff it yet because I want to do my face first this time. All right, so what I did was, this looks like a sack. You can actually use that pattern right there and make a Christmas sack out of this. Just do it in a different color. It would be so cute. And then you could just close up the top somehow. I don't know, cinch it. All right, so what I did was we're going to look at the original face that I did. And I counted from under here where I did my eyes and my eyebrows. So let's go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The third stitch from the top, the third white stitch down, is where my eyebrows went. And then the eyes went in on the 5th stitch. Okay, so you can put them wherever you want, but that's just what helped me. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do the eyes first. And they are about 1, 2, 3, 4. They're about the 5th stitch in. There's 3 in the middle of it. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that. Sorry. I don't know what the side is. Just try to center them. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 white stitches down is about where I'm going to put my eyes. And let's see if I can do it better this time. So we are going to cut some black yarn. Let me get this out of the way. Where did I just put my end? Oh boy. I threw it up here somewhere. Ah, there it is. So you just need enough black yarn to push through there, and then you're going to go in behind it and tie it in a knot. Or you could burn it together, but that would be kind of hard. So I'm going to make it about yay long. And it's probably about 5 inches. It's going to leave some fuzzies on the front of your face for a little bit, but you can just run a lint roller over that. Drives me nuts, sorry. All right, so 5 down, I said. 1, so it's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That'll look about right for his eyes. And then, so I went 3 stitches in, 3 rows in, I mean, and then we're gonna go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. And we're actually gonna push this yarn through and then go inside it and tie it in the back. And I'm going to do that twice. I'm going to push 2 through the same hole so the eye will be wider than just 1 stitch. So I'm going to reach in here, push in there, and I'm going to feel it, find my finger in there, pull them both through. Sorry, that yarn will drive me nuts. I reach inside there. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but you'll find your end pieces. And then tie it, not super tight because it'll make your eye small. And then double knot it. This is all going to stay on the inside. You could also, again, get the animal or the stuffed animal eyes and give him blue eyes. Oh boy, where did it go? There it is. Alright, so I pulled it through a little too tight. Now I'm just going to pull it back out. Like I said, I did it the wrong way last time. So it flipped around is what happened, and there's my knot where I tied it. So you're just going to push it through and turn it around. And then I will get my lint roller and take this off. Alright, so we'll cut another piece of yarn about the same length. This black yarn is shedding like crazy today, and it didn't do that to me the other day. That's because I didn't run it through the whisk. That will kind of flatten everything back. All right, so again, through the same, right next to it, through the same exact hole. I'm going to push this through. And then push that one through. This is what gets consuming with plushies and that. And then I go inside and find my pieces. Oh, there they are. Okay. And then tie them. While I'm doing this, this is what pulled it through so tightly, and it looked like I lost it. But as long as you don't tie it so tight against the thing or against the front of it, it will be okay. I was just trying to show you guys a way to do it with yarn so you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of expensive plushie stuff. See, it pulled it back out again, but just pulling back through and he'll stay this time. So now we have a wider eyeball, okay? By using 2 pieces of chunky yarn. And again, you could use any color you want for the eyes, but think about a snowman and you know what they look like and what we used to build them with. I'm gonna make these pieces a little longer so it'll be easier to tie. I'm gonna make these closer to about 7 inches. And I'm also gonna try to push them through at the same time. Let's see what happens. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And let's see, I've got 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm gonna put this one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not good at the faces. I like to just use the stuffed animal eyes that I buy and clip them on. And make sure I did that right. That one looks higher than the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I did. I gotta go down one. I don't like it when the eyes are uneven. We'll push them both through at once instead of doing them separate and see how that turns out. So I don't have to do it twice. So I'm going to go through, pull them through, and then you're going to go to the stitch underneath it so it just doesn't pop right back out. Push these through. Go into the back. And give it a tug. Okay. And then flip this all around. You can pretty much turn him inside out if you want. And then tie your pieces together. You could even, if you want to make sure, like if you're going to give this to a little kid or something, and you're afraid they're going to pull on the eyes, you could put some hot glue in here so that they don't, sorry, so that it doesn't tighten up, or come undone. I'm sorry guys, I'm so tired. I only ever get time to do these tutorials late at night. I'm hoping to start collaborating with somebody else who will help me with tutorials. Let's see how that one turned out. You just got to reach in there and find your piece. There we go. Now, I know it looks like his eyes are kind of far apart, but if you remember, we're going to put a big nose right there, so I wanted 3 rows in between his eyes. And I don't have my lint roller down here right now. I'm just going to keep picking at these. All right, and just keep pulling and fluffing until your eyes are the size that you want. Now, for the eyebrows, she used some thin black string or thin black yarn. And again, I'm going to cut a piece, make it a little extra long, more than I need. Go about 1, 2, 1, 2 above it. And put your string through there. We want it to angle down that way. So push your string through, reach inside, pull it through a little, get that off. Okay, make it come down like that. Push it through, reach Reach on side. And I know, again, there's a bunch of different ways to do this. This is just the way I figured out how to do it. You can hot glue these strings on there. All right, now let's try to flip this inside out and not mess up that eyebrow. Find your two ends, tie them together. Not super tight because it'll pull the eyebrow out. You could even do eyelashes. I know on a couple of my plushies, I went to the dollar store and got fake eyelashes in the makeup department and glued them on to the stuffed animal eyes. All right, let's see if I like that. Yeah, I do. Oh, pull that out again. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna tighten that up a little more now that I know that I like it. Okay. Every time I do that, this comes back up. I'm sure you'll think of different ways to do the eyes. Pom-poms would work good too. These will probably stay on better though. All right. The face part takes the longest. Let's cut us another string. I think I did about 8 or 10 inches on this one. And we're going to go up 1, 2. Put his eyebrow in there. Most times when I do tutorials for plushies, I don't show how I did the face. I just kind of give people ideas and let them come up with their own creative because this part takes so long. But it was such an important part of the pattern. It really just made him come to life. So I wanted to make sure that I showed you guys how to do that. So we've got his eyes almost done. Gonna reach inside there and find the other string. There it is. Hopefully I don't pull it out of place. Reach inside and tie it together. And again, you could use a little bit of hot glue to hold that in place too in the back so that the eyes don't move around, especially if you're going to be selling these at a craft fair or something. If you're just going to keep it for yourself. Alrighty. Now we shall do the nose. This is actually an extremely bright orange. It may not look that way in this lighting. Sorry. Can't remember how much I used last time, but I know it wasn't a lot. So what I'm going to do is from the back, I'm going to pull up stitches. And I think she only did 2, but you could do as many as you want. So you'll fold this in half and you're going to pull through. So I'm going to make it about 14 inches long just to be safe. I just want to make sure I have enough. This yarn here I actually did fluff with a whisk. So you can see, look how thick it gets. All right. All right. So you can do this with loop yarn too if you have. I want his nose to be about right there. Yeah. So actually, go inside there. Take your yarn where you looped it. I think this is how I did it. Sorry guys. Bear with me on that. There we go. Pull that through. And then you're going to reach inside there and find the back piece of that and pull another loop through. Actually, I pulled through 2. I didn't need that much. Only one side of it this time. And once you get that through a little bit bigger, you're going to push it through this one. All right. And bring it up. This is called surface stitching. And there are some tutorials in my Facebook groups on how to do surface stitching too. So now I want one more going this way so it looks like his nose is kind of coming over. And I'm going to push my finger there and grab the longer piece of yarn that I have back there. I probably could have made that yarn longer on one side than the other. I was thinking I was pulling through both of it. All right. Now again, just make yourself a loop, pull that through, and then it looks like you have a nose sticking out. Jane did hers kind of that way, like down and over. So again, it's up to you how you want it to look. I'm going to kind of make it curve over a little bit, pull it out. So now what I want is the end piece of the yarn to come through here. All right, put it where I want it. And I'm only going to pull through, not a loop, just a strand of yarn, okay? And I'm going to push it through there, pull up. All right, this is to hold that down. And then push it right back through. All right, and then get inside here and try and tie it together to one of the other loose strings that I've got going. Just make sure you tie everything up in the back and side so that it doesn't I'm gonna make sure I pull it out, okay, so that it doesn't come loose on you. Just go inside and grab your end pieces and start tying them together. This one might take some practice, you know. Again, you could just use an orange or a red, whatever color, or even black, a little pom-pom for the nose. All right, so that's all secured inside there. And every time I flip it inside out like that, it pulls my eyeball thingy around on that side. But once you pull them back out and then put stuffing inside there, it'll be okay. So we just need his mouth now. And if you remember on hers, she just did this cute little crooked mouth. This one didn't come out as good because I did it backwards. All right, let's quickly do a mouth. Just make it about, you know, like start almost under this eyeball and kind of come this way if you want. I can find the end of this stuff too. What a mess I have on my table here. And then we're going to stuff this, close it up, put a pom-pom on the top, and then show you how to do the rim. You're basically going to pull up stitches all the way around, or just around the front, and then knit through them one more time and then close them off. Oh my goodness, where did I put the end piece of this? I will cut into it here in a minute if I can't find it. Just don't want to unwind the whole thing. If you want his mouth to be thicker, just use yarn, like regular knitting yarn. Oh goodness. This would happen to me on camera, huh? All right. I'm just going to cut a piece and pull it out. And hopefully it'll be long enough. Always take more than you think you're going to need. Again, I'm going to do about 14 inches just to make sure. And start about under his eye and just go down wherever you want the mouth to be, kind of crooked sideways like that, and then have it end about halfway under his nose. So we'll go, just kind of lay it on there and see. Yeah, I want mine like that. Pull that back over. Went over a little too far with his nose. So yeah, this looks good to me. You can make it as big as you want. I'm gonna push it through there and then reach inside. Find it with my thumb, pull a nice long piece through, and then figure out where I want it here. Let's see. How's that look? Yeah, I want it a little bigger. We'll go through one more hole. Right. It's easy if you leave your finger in there, then you know what you're looking for. All right. Oh, I'm not the best with faces. So, all right, now I need to get inside here. I'm gonna flip it over. Sorry, I really can't show you this part on camera. It's just kind of difficult because I'm inside the thing, but I'm just reaching in there and finding the ends of my string and tying them together so that I have a mouth there. Oh goodness, I should have paused the video while I did this part. Sorry guys. Hopefully you're working along with me and you're trying to make your face too. So you will be doing the same thing I am. Okay. All right, I did not get enough stuffing, so I'm gonna have to pause the camera again. I run and grab the rest of my stuffing. All right, you can always loosen this if you didn't tie it too tight in the back and stretch out his mouth there. It's cute. All right, give me just 1 second. I'm gonna get my polyfill. I always forget something. Okay, got my polyfill. Sorry about that. Okay, face is done. I made myself notes again over here so I would make sure that I did everything right. So let's see. 3 rows down, did the face, add the stuffing, and then the pom-pom. Alrighty. So let's just stuff it as much as you want it to be. If you like a super thick pillow, then put 10 bags in there. No, don't do that. It'll stretch out your face. And just be careful that you're not untying your face string somehow on accident by doing this. Open his head, and you can fluff up your polyfill like this. Sorry, I don't have this on camera, but you should know how to stuff it. It's not hard. And it will get white fuzzies all over your black yarn, but not a whole lot we can do about that. And when I'm making these myself, not on camera and all that, I spent a lot more time perfecting everything. Like I said, I'd be gluing those pieces of yarn together and all that to make sure, especially if I was selling it or giving it as a gift to somebody. If it's at my house, I can always fix it. All right. See, I don't know if you can see on camera, but it's getting white fuzzies all over. Hate that. That's why we have lint rollers. Wish I could find mine. So I get some in there, and then I start looking to where I have lumps or whatever, and then I reach my hand back in there and just start going around and putting it where I want it. Can never have enough polyfill. And this stuff's expensive sometimes. Oh, cost you more in polyfill than it is in yarn to make this guy. But yeah, like I said, I think this was the 32-ounce bag. You're gonna need a whole thing of it. Okay. And I tend to make mine, not extremely thick, just so it doesn't stretch the pattern out, Alright. I got this other kind of polyfill. It's not quite as soft. It brought me the Crafters one. Definitely don't need as much of it, though. It's a little stiffer. Alright, I'm just gonna, sorry, I have to go off camera here. Just getting them stuffed the way I like them. Right to the top there. Stretch them out a little bit. You can reach your fingers inside there and pull yarn down, or pull polyfill down into the corners. Can poke through there, just not too much because you'll separate your pattern. This eyeball just does not want to stay in place. Alrighty, I think he looks good. So let me see if I can get this top thing just be on camera. Again, it is the same way if you've ever watched a video tutorial on how to do a hat or a pumpkin. It's just cinching the top shut. So this was where I left off. Okay, I'm gonna go and take this working yarn that I cut and go from the inside out of each stitch. Go to the next one, inside, out. All right, don't pull too tight yet. Sorry. I'll get back over there. Find the loop, inside out. Also, what I do is I go around and check and make sure that none of my loops got pulled out accidentally when I was stuffing it, that I didn't like accidentally pull a stitch out. So make sure you have all of them pulled through. Like, see, this one here is almost popped out, and I wouldn't have been able to pick that up when I went to cinch it. So I usually go through and just grab and pull up on all my stitches first Forgot to do that there. All right, so back to it. We're just gonna go from the inside out. It's really hard when you're doing these big plushies to stay on camera for every single part of it. So that's why I'm always referring you to other videos. And I'm sorry, I hate doing that because you should have everything you need in one video. But if you get stuck, I just want you to know to go to my pumpkin tutorial or my hat tutorial. And the hat tutorial might give you an idea of a different way that you want to do this. And before I cinch this, I'll show you what I'm doing here. But I'm still just going around and going inside out, inside out. And this one doesn't have any yarn in it yet, inside out. All right, so that's my last stitch. This was the first one that I went through. I like to go through the first one an extra time. All right, so now we've got this, and we take the magic string and we pull. And we pull until you have a seamless opening up here, okay? And I'll take my lint ruler and go over all of it, but as you can see, his head's perfectly shaped. I'm going to leave this string here for a minute, and I'm going to use it for the pom-pom. So first I'm going to tie a knot so that it doesn't come undone. So just kind of grab your yarn here, put your finger around it. I do this on every one of them so that it doesn't come loose. And put a knot there, okay? Now this is pretty long. Don't need that much, so I'm going to cut about half of it off. Save the other piece for the next time I do another one of these, which I think I'm going to be making a lot of them. And just make sure his face is centered. This is the pom-poms that I use. They have a little stretchy thing here so that you can use them for keychains or whatever else. They're kind of hard to get a hold of and to get chunky yarn through, but you can use string if you want to and somehow affix it to the top of him, or you can hot glue this to the top of his head. But I'm going to do it my way that I've always done it. I got a hold of it, and I get my thumb through there, and then I take this string, my last piece of working yarn, and I get it through that thing, okay, thread it through, and then I pull and I pull till it gets to the end, okay? And he's going to be on the top of I'm going to be on top of his head now. Then I'm going to take this, boy, this is hard to do, hard to see the black on the camera, and I'm going to put it through a stitch across from it, okay? I'm going to just pull, I'll show you, like pull up a stitch here, feed that yarn through it. Sorry, I gotta pull it over here, see where I'm at. All right, grab that and pull tight, and then your pom-pom is on the top. Okay, and then just kind of flip it over, tie a knot in it again, and then tuck this end, tie a knot in it again so the pom-pom stays in place, and then tuck this down inside the hole at the top. All right. Sorry, I have to do this off camera because I have to stand him up on my lap to do it. All right, so now we have a pom-pom. Again, use any color you want. You can also, we're still have to do the brim of the hat. But again, you can make your flower and put it here. You can fix it on now or afterwards. And you could also use a bow or just leave it the way it is. So let's do the last part. Usually, again, I do this before I stuff it. I kind of got off track a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. You can do it either way. So now we want to make the brim of the hat like the other one has. You could have done that, like I said, right after you did the face. Might have been easier, but you can also do it this way too, so that you know how far over you want to go. You don't want to go all the way around the back, because then you'll have that brim sticking out, and when you go to lean it up against something, it's just going to fall. So I'm going to go over, like he's flat against the table right now, so I know I could go all the way over to here if I wanted to. But just go as far as you want over on the side to start your brim. All right, so you're going to pull up stitches. You want to make sure that when you're grabbing the stitch that you're going to pull up, you're grabbing black and not white, okay? So grab black, and then you're gonna pull up. Sorry, I'm trying to remember how I did it last time. This way. Push down and pull out. Make sure you have a long enough string here. See, I didn't, that you want this piece to be about 4 inches or 5 inches at least, because we're going to need it for closing off. And I actually got some polyfill on it. Another reason you might want to do it ahead of time. So I'm going to grab the next one, and I'm going to pull up a stitch. Make sure I'm grabbing black. Okay. And pull a stitch through here. Okay. And you're just going to go along this black line and keep taking your working yarn and grabbing the black string and pull a stitch through it. You do not have to do every single one of them because it'll get really crowded if you do. Just make sure that there's no gaps in between these. Let me see if I can show you. See how they're sticking up there? Let's tuck that in for now. How my 3 loops are sticking up there. Make sure there's no huge gaps in between them. So every once in a while, when I'm pulling up a stitch here, if it's too crowded next to the next one here, I'll just skip a row. That way you can save some yarn too. You could probably just even do every other row, because you're going in between. Like this is a row here, so you're actually going in between and on the side of it. So if there's like 10 in the front, you would be pulling up 20 stitches. All right, so just keep going around. I'm actually going to stand up for this part. Hopefully stay on camera. And see, there's a bunch. You may end up with still a good 20 loops pulled up. Okay, grab the next one. Take some of that working yarn. Push it down through. Same size loops you did all along, about 1 finger width. See, these are starting to twist a little bit, so there might be a few too many. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's just unnecessary. And it'll save you some time if you skip a couple. Okay, because if you grab this white string right here, you're going to see white dots on your hat. I'm actually going to skip a row there because they're getting too crowded. Come over here and do this one. This is the last piece of the puzzle. And again, you can do these things in a different order if you want to. Just make sure you get everything done. You don't even have to put the pom-pom on the top. I came up with that just because I put pom-poms on all my beanies. So I'll turn it over here. I'm going to skip one because we're starting to get crowded again. And just take your lint roller again across these and get off the polyfill. And then just go around as far as you want to, however far you want his hat to be. I mean, a normal beanie would have it all the way around, but again, we want him to lean up against stuff and not have his hat rim sticking out the back. That's how Jane designed this. And I thought it was adorable. All right, let's see how far over. Yeah, I need to go a couple more over. You could count too also. Or you can line up your edge of your brim of your hat with your beanie. That would look good. I got a piece of orange yarn there. Okay. And this kind of was shifting from when I stuffed it. All right, so now I pulled up a row of stitches all the way across. Now we're going to knit through them once. Make them a little bit bigger this time because you're going to use them to cast off like you would a blanket. Maybe fit 2 fingers through them, okay? That's what I do anyway. So just grab. Feel free to ask questions in the comments. I know it's hard to see black yarn on camera, hard to see what I'm doing because the working yarn is just blending in with that. Knit through them. I can count for you. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I ended up with 18 stitches that I pulled up. Because even though there's only 10 rows on the front and 10 rows on the back from our cast on, you're knitting in between the rows too. So you actually have double that. So there would be 20 on the front and 20 on the back that you could pull stitches through. Just keep pulling through. This is where I ended up needing the extra yarn. So that first, skein of black that I showed you in the beginning, I'm still using that, and I still have, quite a bit of it left. So I'm thinking again, when I originally said 1.5 black, I must have been using a skein that was already opened. I'm sorry about that. Probably still will need to open a second skein. So it's good to have another one on hand, because you never know if you're going to get one that's 28 yards or 32 yards. Unfortunately, I don't like that, but it's just the way it is for me. I'd like to say every single one of them is 30 yards, but you might get 33, especially on the ivory, and the white, and then less on this. All right, so this was my first stitch over here. Now I've gone through every stitch twice. Now I'm going to start doing cast off, just like you would for a blanket. I'm just going to stick this in here for now so you can see where it is. That was my beginning working yarn. Oh, these fuzzies are driving me nuts, but I will clean them up. So we're going to take our two, hold them together, just like you do for a blanket. Hopefully you can see this. Bring this around, pull it through the other two stitches, and then pull it out, pull it over. This is also kind of like adding a border to a blanket. If you've ever done that, pull. So you'll have one loop that you're going to connect to this one. Combine them, bring your working yarn, pull it through. You'll have another loop there. Bring it over to your next one, combine them. I'm turning my loops in that way. So I'm twisting them that way before I pull through them. And this is the last step. Once you do this cast off, he is done. And then you can leave his hat sticking out, or you can just kind of fold it down. That's how I did it. I think that's how Jane did it. Maybe Jane will come here and comment and give some more tips too. She's very helpful. She gave me her teddy bear pattern. I know how to make a teddy bear, but I, just kind of wing it with the amount of stitches I use and rows and everything each time. And hers, she has an actual pattern that she developed that she follows, and they just come out perfect every time. Just the cutest little shape, arms and legs and everything. And she'll do patchwork ones. I love patchwork bears with leftover yarn. It's so cute. Kind of like a scrap blanket, but scrap bear or patchwork bear. So hopefully you can see how to do this, but if you don't, just again, it's like casting off a blanket like you have. Here, let's look at it this way. All right, pretend this is the end of your blanket, your last row of your blanket. What do? You grab two, you put them together, and you pull yarn through it to make another loop, right? Grab two, pull them together. There's also the other way where you can just pull one loop through another. Let's see, what did I do that on? My surprise plushie tutorial, if you want to go to that. It turned out it was actually a succulent pot, not root. Alright, so pull that through. Alright, and you've got your rim. Okay, I like to pull it down. Hopefully you can see him. So we're going to cut this last one. Give us about another 4 inches. You have this loop sticking out, just like you do on a blanket. I want to pull this through it to close it up. All right, and then take this and just start weaving it through some stitches on the side so that you can pull your hat brim nice and flat. I'm so sorry that's hard to see this on black. And then you can weave them through the back. And you can just tuck it inside. You can tie it right here if you want. Or, like me, I burn everything. Cut that off. I'm getting fuzzies everywhere. I've just never seen my black yarn shed like this one. It's so fluffy. Alright, so let's burn this. And then blow it out and just stick it to a piece. Just to kind of keep it there. And stick it down inside. Fold your brim back down. Same thing on the other side. Okay, take that, weave it through. I can't wait to get a lint roller to you, buddy. You can weave it back through this because that one didn't pull down as tight. And then pull it through a stitch. I'm showing you every single step here. You could disconnect a long time ago if you wanted to. Trim this down. Oh, so sorry. I really wish I had my lint roller. This is just showing up because it's black on white. And stick it to the side of one. Hold it there for a minute. Don't melt your acrylics like I do. And then it's there. God, buddy. I have never had a skein of black yarn do that. But there he is. So sorry that I can't fit him all on camera at once, but I will take pictures and post them in my Facebook groups. And of course, he's going to be on the intro of the video. I really hope you enjoyed this. This is probably one of the cutest pillows I've ever seen. And I am not taking credit for it. Again, it was one of my group members, Jane Gordon. And this was her pattern. And she loaned it to me. So like, subscribe, comment, and come to my Facebook groups. There's I have 4 of them now. And I will put the links to them in the description of the video. You just want to click on the video description on YouTube and click on more. And that's where I put everything. I will type out the pattern and put it there. And I will put links to as many things that I have here as I can. And I will put links to the Facebook groups there so that you can come and get live discussion there. So again, let me know what you think of this guy. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments of YouTube. Or again, much easier to come to the Facebook groups because I check that one more often. And I will see you on the next tutorial. Have a blessed day.